walking, getting on the butt, walking the feet out a little bit. The big key here is going to be, so you can see already just for me, like my shoulders are kind of dumped, right? Because I just want to be in this position. And doing this push-pull, especially with all the pushing, we're just going to be shrinking those pec minors. Pec minors are going to get a lot of work too, but this right here is just going to start folding in unless we do something to keep it out. In particular for those of us who are already in this type of rounded posture. So set up into that, and instead of like getting real long and wide with it, we're just going to practice getting that activation through there. Okay. The cue here is not necessarily to just squeeze those shoulder blades together. A good way to think about this for all of us would be, you know, a lot of cues are like shoulders back and down, right? That's a really good cue for certain lifts. If you're going overhead, it's impossible for you to lock that shoulder down and back and then come overhead effectively. You need to be able to mobilize the scapula as you move the arm up. If you can't do that, you're not going to go anywhere, right? Or like you'll get stuck and you're going to have to do something really weird and probably violent to get the arm where it wants to go. So again, let's all just set up there. We'll do 10 rolls just with the shoulders, okay? So right there, just gonna roll the shoulders back and down. You might, so I think it's just not gonna happen. But here I can get into a good position. I can really get those shoulders backing out of the way. And now use those arms to start moving through that. And it's a lot more comfortable, you know, than really trying to like force my hand into a position it's just not going to get into. Right? It'll improve quickly over time. So now for a bridge, right? Working into that. So we've done these before, you know, but now you're here and really getting up into that position without being dumped, right? Without being dumped here. You know, again, you can kind of cheat the movement, and it looks like I'm pretty close to there. My shoulders are in a horrible position. Here, I'm super active. Now I'm right where I want to be. So I'm pulling back.
Can you show bad again?
Yeah, so bad, like, let's just say I get my hips there, put my shoulders down, and round it forward, as opposed to good. Super cool. So a lot of us, like, you know, the two biggest areas that are going to get smoked during this cycle is going to be this little clusterfuck here, and the same thing, John Taylor. Yeah. And then this, you know, area back in here, like right up under that. The lat comes in and all these external rotators of the shoulder. So those two areas are going to get the most, it's going to get hammered the most in this cycle. So anything we can do to loosen that up is going to be obviously advantageous. The big one would be, you know, the band stretch, right? This is a variation on that. So in child's pose, I'll go to the right. I'll do my right side since Basil's filming me. But then I'm just going to lean a little bit to that side, okay? Hands down. And I'm going to think about reaching up with my right hand as far as I can, actively pressing and pushing my shoulder forward. Okay, running that hand up and really reaching and pressing forward at the top. Hold it there for, you know, maybe about a second and then bring it back. You can hold it out there if you want to, you don't have to. This is more to actively as opposed to, this might be pretty tough for some people. So the foot and the hip are going to be moving at the same time. So I don't want this happening just at the middle. Good. Perfect. Perfect. Oh, perfect. Yes. All right. You feel like the only one struggling with it. Awesome. It's going to be a little bit of a tough movement. So the usual cat camel, I guess I'll do one that's what I don't want, which would be the starting position is going to look pretty much the same, rounded back, but then traditionally you would really dump that pelvis and get real low and just get a lot of rounding in the back. So it's to help open up and gap some of the joints in the low back, potentially rehydrate and nourish the discs depending on what type of the condition you have. We're not going for that. We're going to look more thoracic. Okay, so we want to focus all of that flexion and extension at the thoracic spine. It's not as hard as it sounds, but it's also not necessarily quite as simple the first time around. Okay, the setup is exactly the same. Knees under hips, hands under shoulders. I'm going to think about pressing up a little bit and kind of, again, not squeezing my shoulder blades together, but being active with my shoulders. And now when I take a breath in, so here's where the breathing comes in, my man. Here's some little yoga for you. You're going to breathe in, really press up, and then you're going to just try to bring that chest down. It's a small range of motion. So you can watch me do a few if you need to. So I'm rounding up, out. Yep, exactly. So I'll come around and I'll kind of, you're not going to, it's going to be hard to control in that. So a little more neutral here. So start, bring it back up, start pressed up, and then when you round, think about pressing straight through there, and then come down. Yes. Yep, you feel that? Yeah, right through there. Yep. Good, do that again. Good, yep. And then come down through that. Right to there. Yep. It's a small range of motion, or your basket will be pressed down into the floor. I'm going to take one arm and I'm going to bring it up and keep going as far as I can, really reaching, okay, but still maintaining good contact with my low back as far as I can until I get my thumb to the ground, okay? Again, really reaching back. For some of you, this is going to be more challenging than for others. The fact that I can actually get pretty close to full range of motion is pretty amazing, because I'm definitely pretty compromised in this position. So, yep. Exactly. Nice. A little tougher, but still pretty good. Okay, just try to work the same thing. Just see what happens. Good. Should be good. I'm just going to pull up like so, okay? I'm going to do 10 like that. So we do an isometric hold at the top, coming up and pulling down. Okay. Really trying to press straight up, so I'm not forward, I'm not out to the side. Holding straight up and coming down. Elbows in tight to the body, just at 90 degrees. You don't need to do any further out than that. So we do an isometric hold at the top, coming up and pulling down. Really trying to press straight up, so I'm not